Welcome, guys, to Box to Box Football, and we are back with, to me, a tradition. This is how this whole show started. The Champions League, and I look for the Champions League, and we're back for I don't know what year we're in regards to this, but probably 6, 7, 8 year of doing this and talking about Champions League predictions, but especially not group stage, because group stage people are in and out. We're in the knockout stage of the Champions League, the last 16, and I wouldn't say it was a crazy last 16 draw, but there is some games there that that people are going to look at and are very interested in. There might be a few upsets there that me and Jack are going to get into. And we just went for a different approach this time, guys. I know you can see the Champions League website. Think, oh, what are these guys going to do? Just trying something a little bit different. You guys tell me if you like it. But let's go into the first game, which is going to be
James,
RB Leipzig. Yeah.
real quick, I will just say, first of all, standard stuff. Please subscribe. Everybody new who fancies it, please hit subscribe.
Oh,
James is going to kick himself for not saying that. We hit 1,000 recently. We're so grateful. Drop a like on the video if you like it, all that good stuff. Also, I will just update people. We did do our group stage predictions prior to the start of the group stage, and James got 12 points. I got 11. So James is ahead in terms of predicting who actually went through. I want to say it was you doubled up somewhere, and I can't remember where it was, but there were like two or three groups where you got both right, and I think I only got the two guys who went through twice. So you're ahead by one. So looking good for you so far this season, James.
I mean, let's hope, Jack, the good work continues for me. But Jack, let's get into it right now. RB Leipzig versus Real Madrid. Jack, let's kind of talk through it right now. How are you feeling now going into this tie? And is there certain things that kind of catch your eye for both teams?
Yeah, totally. So first of all, oh James, this is actually quite an interesting conversation. I don't want to get stuck on this for 15 minutes, but I'm afraid we might. I wonder if Real Madrid have lost a little bit of Champions League aura. I know that's kind of maybe a hot take, but it really does feel like the English teams are kind of the ones to beat now in the Champions League, specifically Manchester City with how last year's went. So I wonder if Real Madrid aren't as dangerous as maybe they used to be, and obviously losing the likes of Karim Benzema, these kinds of guys, Ronaldo. Obviously, I know that was quite a while ago now, but it feels like a lot of the truly elite Real Madrid players have kind of made way, and we're still in that interim period where we're looking for this new generation, new blood guys to really come into their own, especially in Europe. We know they're doing it domestically at the moment, but I don't know if they have the Champions League or that Champions League aura yet in Europe. This kind of new generation of Real Madrid team. And James, realistically, I wonder a little bit, is there too much reliance on somebody like Jude Bellingham at the moment? I know Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, and these guys are still doing their thing. Tony Cruz still playing some really nice football as well. But I just wonder if there's a little too much on these guys. I still expect Real Madrid to go through, but what do we know about Leipzig? Their fantastic scouting network, multi-club ownership model, all this kind of stuff. They're always going to have these players who kind of excite you and get you off your feet, and a few players every single season for tens of millions who move to the Premier League, who move to La Liga, who move to a bigger team in Germany, who move to PSG. I think he's on loan, but Xavi Simons, I think
Yeah,
Simmons
yeah.
from I think he's
PSG.
on loan from Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah.
Openda's been really, really nice this year. And James, a big telltale for me personally, I know Timo Werner is not the greatest player in the world, and he kind of got clowned a little bit while he was in London with Chelsea and stuff. But we've seen what he's done at Spurs since coming, which has been relatively impressive. He didn't really make this team, so I think that tells you where this Leipzig team are in terms of the talent that they have available. They haven't really seemed to put it together in the Bundesliga too much. So I'm fully backing Real Madrid here, but I think Real Madrid, if they're a little complacent, they could be in trouble.
I feel like, Jack, I'm a little bit different in
Okay.
regards to how you feel about Real Madrid aura. I feel Real Madrid aura that the most all-time high. I feel that Champions League that they won 2 seasons ago, but I just every single game, being down in the dumps with an old Tony Cruz, with an old Karim Benzema, with an old Luka Modric, and having some young players like Rodrigo, Vinicius, Camavinga in there. Just thing about this Real Madrid when they won that. To me, that just put them through the roof. And you seen what they did last season, Jack, at Anfield, 2-0 down, only team able to do that. Granted, they got blown away by Manchester City in that second leg, but City are truly the best team in the world right now. Real
Right,
Madrid in the 6 Champions League games this season in Jack in the group stage, they won all 6. In a
right.
very, very tough group, Jack, they made it look easy. Going away to Napoli and beating them. Kind of just, to me, this Real Madrid team's aura is at the utmost high. The biggest thing for Real Madrid that might let them down to me is 2 things: the lack of a striker to a certain point, where Joselu not has his moments there, but he ain't gonna be clinical like a Karim Benzema, like Real Madrid. Real Madrid, where they go through these funks, where they're like 1-0, 2-0 down. They kind of need somebody to save them. Granted, that could be Vinicius and somebody like Jude Bellingham, but Joselu isn't really going to be the guy. Another big thing I'm going to mention, Jack, is defensively. They're hanging
Right.
on an absolute thread right now. Alaba's out, Militao's out. Let's see what happens with Rudiger there. So if let's just say if they go into the game with Nacho and Carvajal as the center back, Jack, that is going to be a serious, serious issue. RB Leipzig, on the other hand, Jack, to me, it's a team that good. Listen, good Bundesliga team, but a team that for the likes of Real Madrid and Manchester City, they'll lick their lips. A couple years ago, Jack, they were like Julian Nagelsmann there. They were a serious threat in
Right.
Europe. I don't see it being like that now. I really don't. Jack got some nice players there, players that are gonna threaten, but to me, there's nothing that Real Madrid are gonna look at there and think, we can we're really gonna be scared of there. They played Manchester City twice, who was the standard that they're looking at. Now, Man City truly, Jack, made it look easy against them. I think that one time they went 2-0 down or something like that. Came back and made it look easy. I think Real Madrid, even with 2 depleted centre backs, could really make it look easy against them. It might be a thing where they go away and Jack, they find it a little bit difficult. They might get a draw or so, but when they get to think about it, when they get to the Bernabeu, that's all she wrote. So I just have Real Madrid going through, and Jack's, I'm guessing, the same there. But
Yeah,
guys,
yeah, definitely. I just that depleted defense, and if Openda can pop off early, it could. And then there's kind of a siege type thing going on. I'm just saying that could be one for a potential upset. Maybe,
upset, that's gonna be interesting. But
maybe.
let's move into the second team in RB Leipzig's group, and that's it, reigning champion, Jack, Manchester City, with a chance to go back to back. Imagine if they went back to back, that would be some serious. But Manchester City are going to be hosting overall Copenhagen, who did manage, to finish second ahead of, is it Fenerbahce? No, it was Galatasaray and Manchester United. So Jack, they have toppled a Manchester team this year. I think they were able to beat Manchester United at Copenhagen. They did lose at Old Trafford, but Jack, is there any hope for Copenhagen here? Is there something that we can say to kind of
No,
have them believing at all? Players like
no.
Rooney, could Rooney come up in like trouble city or any? I'm trying. I'm
I
trying, Jack.
know. Look, I hear you, but I think some of these Scandinavian teams or Central European teams from slightly weaker leagues, so your Belgian leagues, Danish leagues, etc., sometimes there's a team that has so many good young players that you think, man, if they young players are inconsistent, but if a bunch of really young players can all kind of get together and really like create something special and catch this team off guard because they're on the front foot and they're really pushing for it, then maybe. I really don't think this Copenhagen team has any of that young talent that is capable of even doing that. I mean, I think we just scrolled past his name, but James Elyounoussi is their kind of best and most dangerous player. And that doesn't make for good reading when you're coming up against a Manchester City team. What you'd like to be if you're Copenhagen is talking about all these guys in their kind of early 20s, late teens, who it's a free hit. We're playing the Champions League, the reigning champions. Let's just go for it. I've got a feeling, by the way, I think that Højlund might be a relation to Rasmus Højlund. I think.
Yeah,
Don't quote
yes,
me
yes,
on
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
but I think that's right. So again, I don't think they have the kind of players who think, wow, this is a good stage and a good opportunity to get some eyes on me and secure a move to a bigger team. I don't think they have that. I think a lot of their players that they have are, you know, later in their 20s and have kind of been there and done it, and Manchester City will just dispatch them easily.
Jack, the one thing I feel like Copenhagen did show me is that their ability to score goals, Jack. They have strikers, yeah, who can come up big at like big moments. And granted, is that going to be enough against Manchester City? No, this to me is a standard Manchester City knockout game where they're
Right.
going against a side who are they're far superior against. And it's one that if Manchester City really put their foot down here, this could literally be done in the first game. You know, if RB I'm not RB Leipzig, Copenhagen are hopeful if they can just stay in it, Jack. Yeah, just stay in and take the Etihad. It's granted, it's going to be they listen. They're not winning at the Etihad. Again, if they
No.
do fair play, they're not winning at the Etihad. But if they can just stay in it in the first leg, I think personally, Jack, that would be a win for them. You know, maybe just get a draw. But it's guys.
Make it,
I'm
yeah. I
trying
mean,
here to create something.
but
Um,
what do we know about when a team does this kind of like low block will defend? I mean, Pep's gonna have a field day. That's what he is okay doing. He's okay with slow build up, slow progression, and being able to break a team down. And James, with somebody like Erling Haaland back, it's not a case of our centre backs will deal with crosses, or our wingers will get back to the fullbacks when they push on and be able to stop the crop. Like, no, you've got a guy who physically can reach chances and reach varied crosses, that none of your other players will. And they have multiple players who can play passes and finish opportunities that, again, none of their other guys can do. Phil Foden's just come off a hat trick, for goodness sake. And he's not probably even in their top five best players at Manchester City. So yeah, it's hard to look past them for that one.
yeah. So I have City going through quite easily. I think Jack, same. You have City going through quite easily.
100 very comfortably, yeah.
So let's move on, guys. Guys, we tried there in the Copenhagen fans. If you want to just kill us in the comments, go for it. Go for it.
Do it.
You know. Jack, let's move on to Lazio versus Bayern Munich. A bit of an interesting tie overall. If this was, I would say back in the day, as much this would be a proper gladiator tie because we know the heritage of Lazio. But Jack, how are you feeling about this? You are the resident Serie A guy. How is Lazio looking this season, and can they trouble Bayern Munich, Jack?
Um, they're looking horrible. And no, they can't. They can't challenge Bayern Munich, who, by all accounts, generally speaking, are also not playing brilliantly themselves. But just generally speaking, um, Lazio have lost a lot of aura and a lot of kind of bragging rights purely from a standpoint of the better players that they once had. And again, the name I'm going to bring up is obviously somebody like Milinkovic Savic, right? Who's gone, and I believe I don't know the club in Saudi Arabia, but went to Saudi Arabia again. Completely lost career, in my opinion. That's a guy who could have played for one of the two Spanish giants, who could have come to the Premier League and been a part of any of the top six teams as a starter. So yeah, a real shame. And James, Ciro Immobile, I know people think he's like a joke because they've never actually seen him score a goal, but he ends every season with like 40 goals. Well, I've just got his age in front of me here. I think if I can find him, I want to say 33. Yeah, James, Ciro Immobile is 33 years old now. There's not a guy anymore who's going to be really, really at kind of the peak of his powers and very, very dangerous anymore. Bayern Munich, on the other hand, I think they're entering a little bit of a sweet spot purely from a standpoint of the age of the players that they're signing. I don't know if you'd agree with that, but they're doing quite a lot of kind of non-Bayern Munich type things. I mean, the opportunity to sign Harry Kane is fantastic, but this is not a guy who's just entering a really good 5, 6 year spell in his mid 20s or whatever. This is a guy kind of just entering the kind of last few years of his career. So I think Bayern Munich are really throwing Kane into this situation and go win us a Bundesliga, single-handedly almost. Go win us a Bundesliga. Go win us a Champions League. I know you're capable of it. I think you can do it. Somebody like Eric Dyer coming in as well. just very strange non-Bayern Munich signings in many ways. What do you think?
Jack, Lazio, you mentioned that they're doing horrible, Jack. They're mid-table. They're ninth right now. You know, in Jack, granted, you mentioned the lust ain't there anymore. Have some players who've kind of been there and kind of gone. Pedro Rodriguez there, like one of the best of Jack this generation in there. Guendouzi, Chiro Mobile, who's kind of been a guy that people's kind of just look past. And again, me looking at them against this Bayern Munich team, I just find it so hard for them to compete, Jack. The thing that kills me
They won't.
the most is just, Jack, the killer instinct of Harry Kane, but Jack, the speed around them. Bayern Munich, the issue with Bayern Munich, and it's something that they may be able to get at defensively, Jack, Bayern Munich just don't look right. And that might
No.
be something, that they can get at. But Jack, especially away from home, I won't be surprised if Bayern Munich killed the tie away from home with the
Yeah.
speed, with the pace of a Serge Gnabry in there, who doesn't really start. In fact, Leroy Sané, Jack
Right.
Kingsley Coman, and Musiala in there. That those three, Jack, the way that they interchange, if they sit back, yeah, if Bayern Munich sit back and like they win the ball back, the transition to me against most teams in the Champions League, it's going to be too much to handle. And in Jack, last season, the difference between them and Manchester City to me was the striker. The fact that they Manchester City had a striker and they didn't. But Jack, they have that this year. The defensive thing is an issue, but listen, I think Bayern Munich to me will be too strong to lose here. And Jack, when you look at it overall, Bayern Munich don't seem to have too many issues with the last 16. It's been a bit of a quarterfinal issue that that Jack they've been having lately. And yeah, I just see Bayern
But,
just being way too strong, Jack. Way too strong.
Kane is their, I feel, Kane is their kitchen sink. Kane is their, James, like, here's my kind of example I'd give. Kane is their, Kane is to Bayern what Van Persie was to Manchester United. Did you follow me with that?
Yes, yes,
There's a
yes,
little bit
definitely.
of a, there's a little bit of a, we know this won't be for 8, 9, 10 years. This is only going to be a little bit, but go win us a league. Go win us a Champions League. And we will swallow the transfer fee and the wages and stuff because you have won us silverware, right? Which I realize is funny as an ex-Spurs player trying to ask him to go win silverware, but still, the point remains. And James, let's be real. Harry Kane has proven it in the Bundesliga. I think it's probably easier to score in the Bundesliga than it is in the Premier League. But Kane's proven it thus far.
Um, but Jack, so who do you have going through here? Because to me, I feel like as we're getting into this right now, it's been kind of plain sailing. The favorites, we seem to always go for the favorites here. I Bayern Munich going through here. I think the first three games are kind of says it all.
Yes.
Nothing too much there. But Lazio fans, do you have any hope? Let me know. Is there any way that like you guys can trouble Bayern Munich? Comment down below. But Jack, let's move on
Also,
to a game that
also,
I believe.
Lazio fans, tell me how you're feeling with Daniele De Rossi at Roma, winning game after game after
Oh, I
game,
forgot, guys.
playing
And
better
also,
football, doing all this kind of stuff. Let me know in the comments how you're feeling about it because
also
I'm
as
looking. I'm looking at top four now. I'm looking at top four. You're looking at mid-table, so you enjoy that.
wow. I also forgot to say, Lazio fan. Jack is a Roma fan. But Jack, let's move on to a game who what I do believe that has upset alert all over it. It's Paris Saint-Germain. Yeah, trying to finally get over the hump and win their first Champions League against Real Sociedad. Jack, this one has upset alert for me in it. But how you feeling going into this tie now? PSG, to me, again, they were in a group of debt, but they kind of, you know, I would say kind of just crawled out of it instead of like walking in the jack. When I looked at it overall, to me, they were the strongest team in there. For them to come in, Jack, and finish second and kind of just limp over the line a little bit, I was a little bit worried about it. Them letting Messi and Neymar go and watching them in the Champions League, thinking that they would be better. Jack, to me, they look a lot worse that they've looked in the past 2, 3 years. But I don't know how you feel about that, Jack.
It's funny. I kind of want to root for Paris Saint-Germain more because they've binned off this kind of old way of doing things where they just tried to buy their way to success. That's not to say they haven't spent money, but it feels a little bit more like they're trying to operate in a different way. There's a little bit more of a better balance. And Kylian Mbappe as the king of Paris, I mean, he's not looking to his left and going, well, I've got Neymar as my competition, or looking to his right and going, oh, I've got Messi as my competition. Kylian Mbappe is the superstar of this team. And I know that kid has an ego bit maybe bigger than we've ever seen in football. But James, he backs that ego up with averaging a goal a game and like 1.25 goal contributions for every game, including some assists and stuff. And if the likes of an Ousmane Dembele can be fit and be in and around him, if somebody like Asensio, I think I saw a graphic recently where it was Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi, and then it switched to Gonzalo Ramos, Asensio, and Lee Kang In, and you're just like, oh my god, how the mighty have, how the mighty have fallen. James, I think this does have upset alert on it, but I'm not going to go against Kylian Mbappe. I'm not going to go against Kylian Mbappe. I'm not super familiar with Real Sociedad and their team. Obviously, I know about Kubo, Zubamendi. I know about Mikel Oyarzabal as well. But I've got to be honest with you. As much as I think those guys have talent, I think if over the two ties, Kylian Mbappe can get 6 or 7 pretty clear-cut chances, I back him to score at least half of those. And as far as I'm concerned, if some other players can start contributing as well and then keep it relatively tight at the back, I don't think it will be a clear victory, but I would back Paris Saint-Germain in this one.
Jack, the biggest thing for me that I've noticed about it is, again, with Real Sociedad, Jack, it's not the most star-studded names like
No.
you'll see, Jack, Jack, that you'll see there, but they get the job done. Jack, they're able to finish top of the table against a team like Inter Milan and also Benfica in there, Jack.
Yep.
Yeah, they finished unbeaten in
both,
that.
Both teams are good and playing well, by the way. Inter and Benfica, both good teams this season.
Jack, big time, yeah. They were able to finish top of their group and also unbeaten, Jack. And looking at it, Jack, they only conceded 2 goals in the 6 games, which with the team that they were going against, Jack, that is very impressive. Jack, they had a really impressive win against, and think about it, against Benfica at home. And the one thing, Jack, I can appreciate about them is that they are an aggressive team. They are in a team that kind of sits back. Jack, think about it. They do want to go after team. And the one thing that I look at Paris Saint-Germain and like I see that they're vulnerable with is that when a team gets in their face, when a team actually wants to go toe-to-toe with them, they don't like it because they're not used to it. They're used to a lot of teams, in Ligue 1, sitting back with them and being aggressive to a certain point. Mbappe does what he likes, he's in. Yeah. Now they're going to go against teams who are going to be aggressive, who are going to want to press them, like AC Milan did, like Newcastle did. And Jack, Newcastle and AC Milan gave Paris Saint-Germain a bloody nose each time. Yeah.
Right.
So I look at it overall, and Jack, I'm not confident with this PSG team because Jack, look at the squad.
I know.
Seriously, look at the squad there. Does this fill you with confidence at all?
Like, James, don't get me wrong. On paper, yes, I can write you a team, and theoretically, I can deliver that with confidence. But we know what it looks like in action. We are aware of what it looks like. And it really is just the Kylian Mbappe show, generally speaking. But my point is, even if it's close, a half chance will fall to that man and he will score. I don't know if I can say that about Kubo, about James. Is Sociedad's number 9 Brace Mendes?
Brace, no. Well, let me check right now.
Because I do just hold my hands up on that one. My knowledge of this Sociedad team, apart from like 4 or 5 names, is not strong.
No, it's Carlos Fabrice.
Okay, Umar Sadiq I recognize from Roma, hilariously. But anyway,
but Jack,
like, I feel like PSG go through, but it's by a goal, James. It's by a goal.
Jack, I look at PSG's team and their best midfielder is Zaire Emery, who's 18. And Jack, there's nothing wrong with you being you being young and in that. But here's a guy who doesn't have like the understanding just yet, Jack, and he's kind of come in, yeah, after not being around for a long period of time, say I'm the best midfielder here, and that really worries me. And Jack, the amount of games which I won in midfield, to me is a big thing. And Jack, you
Right.
have Paris Saint-Germain going through. I'm gonna flip it the opposite way around, and I have Real Sociedad upsetting the cart and knocking out PSG.
So you think Sociedad dominate the ball?
100%, 100%. Because
So
Jack, the one thing I've noticed from PSG is that they're not comfortable with the ball. I've seen
right,
them on Jack. I've seen them on a number of occasions. They're not comfortable being on the ball. What they do the best is kill teams in transition. Mbappe,
right.
Dembele,
That's what I'm saying. So for me, even if it's a tight game, Sociedad dominating the ball, maybe get a couple opportunities. I just wonder if there's a quick break on and Mbappe gets found, and you know what I mean. That would be my only theoretical reason for picking PSG in a close game.
but Real Sociedad fans, PSG fans, let us know, who do you guys think is going through? Comment down below. All right, guys, listen, part two is on its way. So, guys, please rather just click on the box to box football logo and you should see part two there. Watch that, like, share, and subscribe, guys, and we will see you in part two.